Well. I should move my microphone closer so you can hear me and remind you it's Saturday, May 11th. It's noon Eastern time. I am Bob Harris. It's time for the weekly Ask Me Anything live stream. We'll be taking your questions, but first, FootballGuys.com is the website. Appreciate you joining me here every Saturday for these live streams and to ask your questions. Also on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time for the On the Hot Seat live streams. Fantasy Jeans will be on this week. Matt Donnelly on last week. You can go watch the replay of that. But Fantasy Jeans, Eugene Omenihu from Destination Dynasty or Destination Debbie will be on this week. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, all that stuff. If you completed those tasks, hit the like button, especially like me or not. Hit all the buttons, make all the comments, ask all the questions. Happy Mother's Day in advance to all the mothers out there, including mine. And to all of you who are mothers, and to all of you who have mothers, and to all of you who have lost your mothers. I know this is a tough week for you, so our thoughts all with you and sending love your way. Good morning, Jim, Brian, Dame, how are you? Good to see you. Charles Davis, happy to have you here. Appreciate the time. Royal Slade, thanks for coming. Andrew, hello. Nice to catch you live. Appreciate you enjoying the content, and hopefully you have some good questions and we can chat some things out here. Plenty going on this week. A lot of rookie mini camps opening up. I want to talk a little bit quickly. If you have not seen my weekly videos that come out on Friday, news reviews, just kind of like a 10-minute catch-up thing, kind of talk about shifting values. It's a little best ball focused right now because I'm focused on best balls. I think if you're playing right now, that's kind of what you're steeping yourself in. And one of the reasons, like I get asked all the time, why are you playing all these best balls? It's crazy. It is. But you're making speculative plays, but also just like for me to be in the process throughout is super helpful. Makes it so I can, at any point in time, kind of discuss values and have an understanding of where people are going, see how the news impacts things in the immediate moment, because it does. Oh, Lordy. Playing a lot of best balls. Fantasy Cares Eliminators, if you're in any of those, really unique scoring system this year, rewarding the poor quarterback play is really exciting. Well, it's Mr. Scampers in the house. Hot as Scampers. So I'm starting up. I've got two that are full that I'm drafting in right now. Some of you are in those. One that is, they just put up last night, a third one. So jump in. Dame in the underdog. I've got to jump back in. I did a bunch of underdogs early. I'm jumping back in now that they've done that. They kind of do a little draft time hiatus. I've been in best balls 10s all along. It's interesting, the differences that, it's a little bit nuanced, but there are differences between the two platforms in terms of ADP. Some are more reactive in the moment than others. One is more reactive than the other. What am I like talking about 10 different things? And yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Again, appreciate you all coming on this weekend. I just took my lovely fiance out to breakfast for Mother's Day in advance. So spend a little time with the moms in your life. They appreciate it. Let's see. So a lot of rookie mini camps this week going on. And going back, that third FC Fantasy Cares Eliminator, go to my Twitter timeline. You'll see I retweeted it. It'll take you. There's a link that'll take you directly to that. Jump into that. You got to make a little charitable donation, but it's painless and fun, and it's a super unique format. I tend to do really well in the eliminators. That's not to say I will this year, because I'm totally just slow to get up to speed on the scoring system and realizing the values of not having great quarterbacks and lousy coaches and punters and all of that. So it's really unique. It's a best ball format, and every week the lowest score in the league is 17 teams is eliminated. So again, I fared really well in these. I don't know that I will fare really well this year. I want to talk about some of the quarterbacks. A lot of news this week about quarterbacks kind of, hitting the field. Are they or are they not starting? Some of them are. One of them are. One of them are for sure. Matt Eberflus came out yesterday and, why beat around the bush? Caleb Williams is a starter in Chicago. We've talked about it a fair amount. I think it's, makes perfect sense. You don't draft that guy to be, anything but your starter from week one. They've built the pieces around him, hopefully learning from their past mistakes. Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you. Hope you're feeling well. And so hopefully they've learned from their last mistakes. I was listening to my colleagues at Football Guys. And by the way, The news video's out every Friday. Go listen to that if you haven't had a chance. Just a little 10-minute catch up, kind of talk about the values, mostly in best ball, but also kind of where people stand in rankings and what we should be looking for going ahead based on the news we're hearing. So I do top 5 headlines, do it in under 10 minutes. Quick and painless and hopefully informative. Also, every Monday, my fantasy notebook comes out on the site. I think they're still doing that free for everybody. If not, you can read part of it. But if so, and also free, football guys, go sign up for the email update. Me and Cecil Lammy and Sigmund Bloom, Joe Bryant do the news every single day of the week. That will come out. Come to your inbox, totally free. No commitments, no requirements. You can unsubscribe at any time. So do that if you get a chance. Later today, I'll be on the Sirius radio station, Fantasy Sports Radio with Mike Dempsey. Mike Fiella will be joining us. He will come on to ridicule me about my dynasty ignorance, or at least my dynasty tight end ignorance. And we'll have some good chats there. Mike Dempsey will be with me, of course. I think we'll probably start up some more best balls today if you're listening. Not 100% sure because I haven't got the links yet. Also, don't have the show rundown, so I don't know who the beat writers on who will be with us, but we'll have a couple beat writers on to join us, along with Mike Fiella, also known as @Daddy's Home on the Twitterverse. Super cool dude. Love chatting it up with him. Very knowledgeable about the dynasty. So that's it. Back to the stuff, the football stuff that we all crave so much. And so, as you look at the list of quarterbacks, I mean, obviously Caleb Williams announced as a starter, makes perfect sense. Not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised either. I was listening to Bloom and Lammy, talk about this, and they had some interesting thoughts. We'll kind of dig into that as we go through the quarterbacks. But just like, the talk that the Bears have built a nest, that maybe they've learned from their past. And there was I just got my email here before we get into this. I do have some beat writers today. Let's see. Well, I guess I don't get that yet. All right. I thought I had a rundown, but they put the pieces around Caleb Williams in the form. Already had DJ Moore. They added DeAndre Swift in free agency. They added Keenan Allen in free agency. They added Gerald Everett, some depth at tight end. But Shane Waldron is now the offensive coordinator. I think that's probably a big deal, right? So you bring a guy in, that an offensive coordinator from the McVay tree who kind of knows what he's doing, who will scheme up, some shots to Moore, Keenan Allen, a safety valve, and capable of doing more. I know we think of him as like a short and intermediate guy, but he can do everything. Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett. We'll see who emerges as the third receiver there. I don't know that I want to dig that deep for fantasy purposes. And we'll see what DeAndre Swift is. I know there's still a lot of discussion about the possibility they trade. Like Khalil Herbert is there. I know a lot of people are wish casting him to Dallas. So we'll see about that. I don't know about that right now. I've kind of settled in on Ezekiel Elliott being a value there, but we'll see. Andrea has a question here. Have the 11th in a QB1 dynasty. Should I pick a Leggett, Pearsall, or Jaden Daniels? I'm probably taking, who's your quarterback, Andrea? I think I'm picking Jaden Daniels. That's where I'm leaning right now. I don't see Leggett or Pearsall ever being a league-winning asset, right? I see Jaden Daniels potentially being a league-winning asset. And listening again to, if you didn't catch it, I think the latest edition of the Audible, Cecil Lammy and Sigmund Bloom talk a lot about these first quarterbacks, and I'll kind of share some of their insights with you. If you didn't have a chance to watch it, it's a quick watch. 3 Football Guys YouTube channels now, by the way. The Audibles channel with Cecil and Sigmund. My work will be featured there as well, but I might be on other channels too. Going forward with the Football Guys channel with Alfredo Brown, Dave Kluge, Jagger May will be on there a fair amount. Then the Dynasty channel, Jeff Bell, Jagger May, and more to come there. So plenty of insights available there, but 3 channels, kind of try to keep it narrow, works for the algorithms and whatnot to have more subscribers watching. So anyway, Matthew Stafford, Fields, and Geno, I'm taking Jaden Daniels there, right? We'll see what Fields is long term. I know Bloom had some thoughts about this, and I don't disagree with him. The hope is the Bears didn't ruin Fields. And if they didn't, the hope is the Steelers can fix Fields and maybe fix him quickly. Maybe fix him so quickly that he'll be the week 1 starter. I know, make no mistake, Russell Wilson is the leader going into the clubhouse there as they hit the field. But have we watched Russ play the last couple of years? Has that been system? Has it been Russ? I think it's fair to say it's a combination, right? And maybe it's also fair to say, why would the Seahawks let Russell Wilson move on? Oh, gee. Caleb Williams is gone. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I would take Jaden Daniels for sure. I just think here, but here's why. I mean, I like there are concerns about him, right? For sure. The build is not what you'd want it to be. But boy, the athletic upside, he looks like, not like Anthony Richardson, because Anthony Richardson's a much bigger man and much more physical. But in terms of throwing, probably Jaden Daniels is well advanced, is a more advanced passer, got great deep touch, etc. He's a willing runner, maybe too willing, and maybe that's something he's going to have to work on. He's kind of, the slender build, the 6'4", 210, as opposed to the 6'4", 6'5", 240, 250-pound build that we're talking about with Anthony Richardson. But I think he still offers you that kind of lottery ticket style, that league-winning upside, if all the things come together. And working with Cliff Kingsbury, who maybe isn't a great head coach, but maybe a better offensive mind. We'll find out. I have my complaints about Cliff Kingsbury being predictable in his offensive play calling. Also, if I'm being honest, I would have to acknowledge that Kyler Murray was quarterback 3, I want to say, his first year with Cliff Kingsbury, and quarterback 8 the next year. Leggett definitely gets extra bumps for that accent and his love of horses and more. Yeah, I can't see the Steelers wasting the 1 year they have with Fields at the moment to see if he can be your guy. What I think, like, if you're saying that they should install him right away, I mean, I think that's where I'm at as well. Like, again, I think we know what Russell Wilson is, right? And maybe we don't. Maybe he's still capable. I think part of the problem there is, the receiving core beyond George Pickens is kind of slim pickings. There's a pun. But also, George Pickens is kind of like, man, we're putting a lot of eggs in that kind of interesting basket, right? Is he, how's he going to feel about things? How's he going to feel about playing under Arthur Smith? I bet we find out if he's not liking it. So, I mean, that'll be there's a lot of interesting dynamics going on there, but it seems to me it makes sense that if Fields is even remotely looks like he's capable of beating out Russell Wilson, he gets every opportunity to do that. You're welcome, Aaron, 1984A. Appreciate you. If Jaden Daniels hits like you'd hope, he will be much harder to get next season. That's for sure. I think that's where I'm at. And just like comparing, as things stand now, like, I think all the receivers are staying put in San Francisco. So to some degree, that's a limiting factor for Pearsall, right? If they get a new deal done with Ayuk and he's going to stay beyond this year, I mean, you're not going to know. I mean, I don't think the trade's coming. If you want to play that game, to me, Daniels is the safest upside play of this bunch, right? If you just need, like, I don't know that Pearsall or Leggett would emerge as legitimate starters this year, next year, or ever. And maybe Daniels doesn't either. I think the upside is there, though, for me, for sure. So, kind of have kicked him around. I think he will be, Daniels, like Caleb Williams, a week 1 starter. Can't imagine Marcus Mariota beating him out, right? I think that's the thing. Who else is there? The other quarterbacks we'll talk about, I could see it makes more sense to sit them to start. I mean, like an ideal world, Matt Wallman would like us to know that everybody should sit their first year, right? Or maybe longer. It's worked out well for some players. Jordan Love, the most recent example, but we have others before that, said Patrick Mahomes, right? So there's something to be said for even the best of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, taking their time to come in. There's also something to be said from the team's perspective and getting those rookies in there right away on their rookie contract, maximizing the value, building and adding the pieces around them they need to succeed. Bears seem to be paying attention to that, by the way. So I do think I think it's going to be hard for me to imagine Jaden Daniels sitting the first year, even though it would probably be wise for him to sit the first year. It might be wise for Caleb Williams to sit the first year. I think neither of those are realistic. Drake May in New England, that makes a lot more sense to me. There's a lot not to like here, right? Like, not the least of which is a receiving core. I know they added a couple pieces, but are they super high-end pieces? I mean, all due respect, but Jalen Polk, I mean, there was talk of him being a first-round pick. No doubt about it, right? Javon Baker, are those the kind of trajectory changing skill players to go with Kendrick Bourne and the rest of the batch that are already there. I don't think so. Drake May comes in. We come in with an offensive coordinator in Alex Van Pelt, who probably is known. So I believe this too. I believe this too. 100% believe he will probably be the starter. I don't think he should be. I don't know that this is the ideal circumstance for him. And I'm not going to slog on your Patriots too much, Royal Slave, but I just don't know that this is the ideal situation given the receiving core around him. It would be better if he had some more time to build. I don't know if they're going to get that. I wish, I think Drake May is super competent, capable of being a frontline player. I don't know that he's there yet. The concern is obviously he plays too much hero ball, tries to do too much, tries to go for the big play when the first down would suffice. And the supporting cast isn't great. And wondering about Alex Van Pelt, who, wasn't hired away from someone who was fired and comes on board. There are a lot of questions for me. I think this is not an ideal situation. So I have concerns. But I mean, concerns to the level where I'm like not investing in any Patriots. No, I'm investing the hell out of the running backs. But definitely have some concerns there. I think we'll see what Alex Van Pelt can put together with this offense. But I agree. I think he probably will start. I wish he would not start. I also wish, and to that degree, I mean, I think, again, the Matt Waldman argument is none of these guys should start year one. They should all get a chance to marinate and become better, burst in their offensive skills. Obviously, Michael Penix will get every opportunity to sit for a year, barring the unforeseen. I think everyone's kind of coming to grips with this pick and starting to realize that maybe it's not the most horrible thing in the world to have, not the most horrible thing in the world to have landed behind, or to have this piece behind Kirk Cousins. The immediate reaction was truly overwrought. I wrote about this. I've talked about it a fair amount, wrote about it in last week's fantasy notebook. I just wonder if this is as horrible a move. To me, from a fantasy perspective, it's ideal. Right. And it's an ideal circumstance for Penix because he'll work with Zach Robinson in good offense. Not ideal from like hey, you're an immediate starter because Kirk Cousins is there and they invested $100 million guaranteed in him. And he is like almost certainly going to be the starter in the next 2 years. But it's a really good circumstance for a quarterback to land in if you have the long term in mind. Right. And so Penix for me, except Falcons fan, this is 100% correct. Falcons fans having none of this, not one bit of it. But I think, if you look at it realistically, from my perspective, it's a pretty simple thing. I'm not a Falcons fan. I do not apologize to the Falcons fans in the room. I don't care if your team wins or loses. I'd like them to be successful and have a great offense. And if something happens to Kirk Cousins, having a super high-end backup with a big arm who can continue fueling the fires of the pieces I am interested in, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, that would be a big-ass deal to me. So purely mercenary here, Falcons peoples. No offense intended. Andrew A. would like to know who is we picked between Richardson and Daniels. It's wild to think Richardson is 2 years younger, and he's also 40 pounds bigger. So it's a pretty easy call for me. I'm going Richardson there. But I do think they both have, that similar kind of huge upside. I think Richardson's a little farther ahead in the process. Granted, he has some learning to do in terms of avoiding hits and showing he can stay on the field. Neither of them are proven commodities. You can make the argument again that Jaden Daniels is a more mature passer at this point. The Colts would argue that's not the case. Matt Waldman might, probably not would argue the difference is not as huge as the perception. Right. I mean, the perception is that Anthony Richardson coming in couldn't throw, had not thrown, was not a thrower. He is a thrower. They just, and the Colts truly believe this, and they're putting pieces around him, including A.D. Mitchell this year to maybe replace Alec Pierce, who's kind of come up short. But they seem to be doing everything they can to make him a passer, and they have a strong rushing attack, so that'll help him out. I would pick Richardson for sure. But I think, if I ended up with Daniels, that wouldn't be a huge disappointment if I missed out on Richardson. Like if I'm drafting with Royal Slade and Richardson's gone, well, like right before I'm about to pick him, yes, Jaden Daniels will be perfectly fine. So going back to Penix, again, obviously not a redraft prospect anyway. Probably a lot of these guys. I mean, I think Caleb Williams, I'm seeing him go probably a little higher than I want to take him right now, but he's going and he probably should. I'm seeing Jaden Daniels go probably at a more reasonable price, but he is going. I think we'll talk about some more quarterbacks here that are probably in good positions as well, maybe better positions than Daniels. And that will be Bo Nix in Denver, maybe. We'll see about J.J. McCarthy. Oh, look at. I knew I would draw Zare out. Zare Cansabedium, my colleague of Football Guys, has strong feelings about Mr. Adonai Mitchell and is willing to defend him. Zare, I was going to text you this morning and see when it's going to be convenient to get you on this show. Seems like I'm going to have to swap a Wednesday night for a Saturday to get you on because you're always here on Saturdays. And I know the timing is not great on Wednesday, so we'll have to work that out. Zare, big AD Mitchell guy. Big. Go to Football Guys and hit the message board to find out more about that. But I want to say, like we'll go to JJ McCarthy, who am I sure he's going to be a week 1 starter? Not 100%, but I feel like that's the direction you're going. I know people are out there will make the argument that you've got Sam Darnold, slow roll McCarthy. I think in an ideal world for both the Vikings and McCarthy, the slow roll would happen. I don't know that we live in an ideal world. I don't know. We're all kind of like, thinking some of these quarterback reclamation projects do happen. Baker Mayfield gave us all hope, right? Geno Smith has given us some hope. I don't know that I have that same hope for Sam Darnold. And if not, I mean, like to me, Minnesota I talked about it, in advance of the draft, and I'm still talking about it because I think it is 100% true, was the ideal landing spot. Hey, Kevin, thanks for coming. The ideal landing spot for a quarterback. Justin Jefferson, who I'm guessing they'll get that long-term deal done with at some point here. And you'll be tied to arguably the best receiver in football for some period of time. Not to mention Jordan Addison, not to mention TJ Hawkinson. For the short term, Aaron Jones in the backfield, a playmaking threat if he's up in the locked and upright position, but also Kevin O'Connell has proven to be a pretty good offensive mind, right? And I think I think that would be, I think it's a great landing spot, right? And the scheme and everything. And I can spin that back to Waldron, another coming off the Shing Waldron tree. And we can look at the Sean McVay tree. And you can look back the last couple of years at how that offense evolved in Seattle under Waldron, who was clearly brought on to give it a new direction. I think we'll see a similar direction where he'll scheme up to take advantage of the skills of Caleb Williams in that receiving core and make use of the playmaking running backs they have. DeAndre Swift, hopefully, able to answer that call. So, I mean, a lot to like there, but also a lot to like for JJ McCarthy. What you don't like about JJ McCarthy is the obvious. They didn't ask him to do a lot. He doesn't have that big body of production that you would love to see from a quarterback coming in. Right? That's going to be the issue. The pieces around him, the scheme, everything is fantastic for him, but the body of production that we saw in college is not great, right? Though I want to say the Wolverines won the national championship with the lowest pass rate of any team in the history of football in recent years. So I have a number on that. I'm not going to look it up, but it's like not great, right? I'm going to look at just some of the numbers. He's thrown an average of 22 passes per game last season. That ranked number 94 in the FBS. So that's the issue. Just not a lot of reps. That's not an issue so much with, say, Bo Nix, who started 30 years of college football or thereabouts, right? It has a really good body of work and pro-style offenses. He's effective, mobile. I want to say, what is it? Just 3 interceptions last year. So a lot to like about him. But the thing that you like most about him is Sean McVay wanted him, right? I mean, I think had Sean McVay wanted someone else bad enough, they probably would have gone up and got that person. This whole thing has been about, and I can go back to last year, and I will happily go back to last year when Sean Payton happily told us in front of the entire world by pretending he was really mad at Russell Wilson and dressing him down in front of God and everybody. I mean, just like that was your signal that he was never a Russell Wilson guy. That was never the plan there. Wasn't if Russell was playing good, wasn't if Russell was playing bad, because in the moment in that game, I didn't see Russell making huge mistakes or at least game-changing mistakes. Sean McVay just wanted to let us all know this is not the guy. And I think that probably dated back to before Sean Payton became the coach there. I think one of the things he probably said is this is going to be a longer term build. And so he gets a guy he wants. I don't see Bo Nix playing second fiddle to Jarrett Stidham. Maybe it happens. I don't think that's the plan, though, right now. They bring in Troy Franklin, one of his receiving assets from Oregon. Cortland Sutton is still there. Marvin Mims Jr. is still there. They have an entire stable of playmaking tight ends that can't seem to stay healthy, but everybody loves them. They've got a great backfield, including super high-end playmakers like Jaleel McLaughlin. I know I'm not leaving Javonte Williams out, just saying it's the playmaking kind of portion of this affair. I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin is that super juicy, exciting speed threat that, you love to see working out of the backfield. And I do think Javonte Williams is in position to rebound this year. So there's a lot to like there. So I think Bo Nix is in a really good spot. Just in terms of like immediate production. If you were in a huge bind this year and like, oh wow, I need somebody who might play. I think he's going to play and might play well enough to keep you from a disastrous outcome that might otherwise come from playing. Like there's there's some other guys. There's some interesting discussions too. And by the way, Kirk Cousins is cleared to do everything they're doing in phase 2 of the offseason program. Seems like he's on track. I think that's been a little bit of a question mark. Will he truly be ready? Seems like he's pretty ready. So, I don't think we're going to see. I think we're going to see much Michael Penix, but still, I mean, he's 36 years old and coming off a torn Achilles. I mean, is it 100% certain he's going to be his whole self? I hope so. Don't know so. So, I'm going to go just throw this out. Hey, Toronto Dave, good to see you. I'm just going to throw this out here again. We'll just kind of run through the top end of this thing and just say, I'm not averse. I think Royal Slate is right. I think Drake May is so Caleb Williams, week 1 starter. Jaden Daniels, week 1 starter. Drake May seems likely to be, but I wish they wouldn't. And I know, Jacoby Brissett is not someone who's going to thrill a lot of people, but he can be. I think my view of Jacoby Myers is going to vary from Slade's because as a Patriots fan, he would like the Patriots to win. I don't know that Jacoby Brissett is going to take you anywhere as an NFL team, but from a perspective of the piece that might be more likely to keep my fantasy pieces going in there, and my fantasy pieces are limited, right? Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, and Hunter Henry. I don't have a lot invested in the receiving core. I wouldn't be averse to having some Kendrick Bourne or either the rookies, Polk or Burton. I mean, in Dynasty, but I mean, for immediate contributions, I'm not expecting a lot. So I don't know. I think there may be a period of time where we see some Jacoby Brissett. Slade wouldn't mind it. I think it seems more likely to me, but we'll see. There might be some pressure to get him in there, right? I mean, a lot of weirdness. What do we make of this GM situation? How are the locals feeling about that? Because it seemed like, Elliott Wolf and like, I'm not gonna make a, the super hot take. Like, why would you do this after draft? It's not like it's never happens. A lot of times teams that are looking for a GM put that search off. It's not unusual until after the draft and they have a team in place to handle the draft because the draft is a lengthy process and maybe you weren't ready to hire the GM. So, and to me, it seems ostensibly this entire GM search is nonsensical, and they want Elliott Wolf in there anyway. So, which would make sense, right? I mean, if you're letting him do the things, but also it seems like there's pieces of ownership that are involved in this an awful lot, right? Like maybe not Robert as much as Jonathan Kraft, I think, is the thing. I know they've had like some of the Rooney Rule, people declined for that reason. So I'm not going to put a bunch of judgment, but like, that level of investment in a quarterback, like somebody who is in an interim role seems odd. So yeah, that seems like perfectly reasonable. So we'll see. Like Elliott Wolf, I mean, has been a sharp personnel person, working under the, behind the scenes for Green Bay in the past. And Obviously, the connection to his father, we all appreciate that. But we'll see if he gets that job, and maybe that's more indicative of what the direction they want to take. Maybe they'll be a little more patient with Drake May, or not patient with Drake May, depending on how that plays out. But I do think Jacoby Brissett, from a fantasy perspective, is serviceable. I realize how he's not like ideal from an NFL perspective, but he has helped some teams bridge that gap. And from my perspective, he did great things for Amari Cooper in a season where I didn't expect much from Amari Cooper. So capable. But again, the wins don't necessarily follow. So that's going to be determinative, right? The level of patience of a 85-year owner probably will come into play as well. What do we think of the Tom Brady roast? Did we enjoy that? I got to admit, I only saw clips. I've only seen the clips. I haven't seen the full thing. Haven't watched. 3 hours seems like a pretty big investment in time for humor. Like, I like humor, but 3 hours. Is it funny enough to support 3 hours? I don't know. Am I a fan of Jalen Wright, the rookie running back from Miami? If yes, where in best ball would you take a swing, taking the risk, and you're probably banking on injury? I do like they traded a future third for him. I do like Jalen Wright. I like the build. I like the speed. I think, eventually there won't be a Raheem Mostert. Now there is. I'll be buying whatever the cheapest piece is for a little while. And right now, Jalen Wright is the cheapest piece. That could even change. Like, I know a lot of people seem down on Mostert. I've been talking about this since the draft. I was talking about this before the draft. I felt like we were drafting the Miami backfield wrong because we're drafting Devon Achane inside the top 10 running backs, inside round 2. And Raheem Mostert's going in the 9th round of drafts. So I think, well, I mean, I love Devon Achane's upside, but I think they told us something. I think they told us something when, they reinvested. They put some cash into, not like huge cash, not long-term cash, but I mean, Raheem Mostert isn't going away this year. I know we've had conversations. JSC will come running into the chat here momentarily to tell me that Raheem Mostert will get hurt. Maybe. So might Devon Achane, according to last year. The smaller player. So I do like Jalen Wright an awful lot. I think in Dynasty would love to have a share of him. Any piece of that offense that looks like it has a little bit of a long-term timeline, time horizon seems fantastic. In the short term, I think he's worth the investment where he's going right now. And it's in the double-digit rounds, like I want to say round 10, 11. So here we go. Back to the Robert Kraft portions were how the kids say cringy. I heard Tom Brady was a big fan of that. The roast was pretty good. Watched over 2 nights. I think that's it. I think that's what I'd have to do. And I'm a huge Nikki Glazer fan, so I would like to see that. Not a fan of everybody, all the roasters. I didn't want to call you out on that, Scampers, but now that it's out there in the open, even I know that. And I say everything wrong. I'm just kidding, man. Let me take a look at something here. I might have some information for you on an upcoming show on Sirius. It's possible. Yes. We'll be doing Talking Eagles with Dave Spadaro on the Football Diehards radio program. Hi, in case you're just tuning in and you didn't know who the hell I am, I'm Bob Harris. You also hear me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, where I'm a co-host of the Football Diehards show along with Mike Dempsey. Nikki is fantastic, humorous. I was interested to see that Todd Bowles is a huge fan too. I thought that was interesting. New age of roast, angry and petty, and not a big fan of the energy. Some of it's not great, right? Kevin Hart got pretty unbearable, and I love him. That's fair. Yeah, I probably need to watch more fully. Like, I'm not a huge Jeff Ross fan anyway, so I know he's like famous for this kind of thing, and just never really been on board. So yeah, I'm probably going to agree with a lot of the takes here on that, for sure. But back to the show. I am Bob Harris. You find my work at footballguys.com. Every Monday, you'll find my fantasy notebook there. Every Friday on the Football Guys, the Audibles YouTube channel, you'll find my my headline news, my top 5 headlines. You can go to my Twitter feed and find them now. Give that a watch. It's like a quick 10-minute or less catch up piece of what's going on in the week. So if you've been busy, if life's been getting in the way, if you've been watching Tom Brady's roast on endless repeat, don't have an idea what's going on, I'll help you get up to speed really quickly. Also, check out Cecil and Sig on the Audible. And Sigmund had Jake Seeley on the couch this week. It's a great program as well. Catch the Football Guys show on the Football Guys channel with Alfredo Brown and Dave Kluge. Also the Dynasty channel. So 3 channels now. So check them all out. Later today on the Football Die Hard show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio with Mike Dempsey and myself, 3 p.m. Eastern time, will be Dave Spadaro, the Eagles insider from PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Super knowledgeable guy. Not like all the the people who write for the websites. Like some of them are really good. Like Dale Lawley is fantastic. Had him on last week for the Steelers. The Patriots have who is the Patriots guy? Lazar. I want to say they have a really good writer there. Some of them are less, open, but Dave Spadaro is really opinionated and really good. Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report will talk Cleveland Browns also on the program. And of course, Mike Fiala will be on to talk Dynasty. So tune into that. Damn it. I didn't really need a score. Thank you, Dame. I appreciate that. I really love doing those. You might get more of that ahead. Not giving anything away. But that might be one of the things as the season draws nearer. You might see more of those. So, and really fun to do. And I hope they're very useful. So I appreciate that. So going back to the quarterback situations, I think we've kind of covered all the people who are likely to be, or, at least we hit those first round picks. I mean, beyond that, you're taking your chances. I know some of you are playing in dynasty leagues where you take chances. Spencer Rattler is my player of choice there. I know Michael Pratt has, some thoughts, but he had a crappy landing spot. Joe Milton, I don't think we'll see him playing quarterback anytime soon, but big armed guy. Jordan Travis, I don't think we'll, Spencer Rattler may have landed in the spot though, right? I mean, I think if I'm playing a dynasty and I'm like hoping for a chance at somebody who might develop into something, I guess it's Spencer Rattler, just because I don't know that Derek Carr is a super long-term answer, right? I mean, he is the answer for the next couple of years. Make no mistake, or at least the investment suggests he's going to be the answer for the next couple of years. So we got that going for us. And let me know if my sound is okay. I know sometimes I watch the replay or I catch word of the replay. The sound isn't as good. I don't hear any complaints during the show, so I think it's more a replay issue. But if there's any issues at any point, let me know. See if I can correct them. I can do this like Sigmund Bloom style. I talk right into my microphone. So, yeah, I think we've got the quarterback situation pretty well covered. If you have questions, we'll dive into those. We can talk running backs a little bit more here. I'm happy to talk the receivers as well and the tight end. Okay, there's more than one. I'm just making that up. Interesting thoughts from Dave Canales this week about how they're going to lean into the running game to try and help get Bryce Young on track. I've talked about this a lot. I think Dave Canales is a good coach to do this. He has a good track record working with quarterbacks, getting them going. That's why he's in Carolina. Make no mistake about it. And one of his plans to get him going is to get the running game going. They rebuilt the interior of that offensive line, a pair of new starting guards. They have rebuilt the backfield. Any investments you've made in Chuba Hubbard or any chances you've taken with Miles Sanders are just that. You haven't paid a lot for him if you've been drafting a best ball. So, don't lament the issues, but we all know Rashad Penny's going to be the guy now, right? Right? Don't we? No, probably not. But anyway, Rashad Penny's assigned. But Jonathan Brooks selected early in the draft, first running back off the board. The question mark there is obviously about the recovery from the ACL. Entirely possible he hits the ground running. Historically speaking, that's not likely to be the outcome, but I'm not going to be dismissive of it. Maybe he's out, everyone is different. I try to remind myself of that. I thought Breece Hall last year looked like he came back quickly, but even with the huge first game, which I think would never have happened had he not had a big play to open that game, right? I think they were giving him the courtesy nod. Okay, Breece, you've worked hard. Here's a carry. Boom, and he takes off, right? Right? So, and then I think, you couldn't take him out of the game because how could you? He's there. So So we'll see with Jonathan Brooks, right? I mean, I think going in, you assume Chuba Hubbard's going to open as the starter, most likely, and then you hope that Brooks comes along at some point. Hugely talented. I mean, I don't think there would be any question. Maybe, I don't know if we'd be having a conversation about him similar to what we had about Bijan Robinson last year, but it would have been much closer to the conversation we're having now. So we'll see about him. But I think the whole notion of them working hard to get Bryce Young fixed is no joke, right? And that's Canales' history is doing that. And so we're thinking about how did he do that with Baker Mayfield? Because Baker Mayfield had a huge turnaround. By the way, Russell Wilson had one of his best seasons ever. I think his best season ever under Canales as the passing game coordinator or the quarterback's coach. Then as the passing game coordinator, Geno Smith had a rebound season. That was his comeback season with Canales. Then Canales goes to Tampa Bay, and we have a renaissance for Baker Mayfield. Obviously, this is the hope, right? This is like, hey, fix ours. Bryce Young's not working right. Do something about that, Dave. So Dave's coming in and he's telling us one of the ways he's going to do that is by a runner and heavier approach. They also added playmaking pieces, though, in Deontay Johnson. Already have Adam Thielen, who, again, is your latest reminder that lousy quarterbacks don't necessarily sentence a wide receiver to horrible numbers. Adam Thielen was a wide receiver one more weeks than he wasn't last year. I want to say through week 12 at least, maybe even week 13. It tailed off. I mean, but it should have. It was like historically bad numbers for a first overall pick quarterback. But they bring in Xavier Legette, who talks really cool and also has a lot of playmaking ability. Again, I see the 3 after the 4 on that 40 time. I'm excited, especially when that guy weighs 220 pounds. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I don't know enough about Legette to really have confidence that he's going to emerge as a super playmaking threat. I kind of think some of the same things about him I thought about Jonathan Mingo last year, and we saw how that's worked out. Legette is there, right? So, I mean, they're kind of telling us something just with the addition, but maybe Mingo isn't a, totally sunk cost on lingering on my dynasty rosters where I will likely keep him until 2037. But they added Deontay Johnson first and foremost. So, I mean, a guy who can get some separation, that's something that's going to help Bryce Young out a lot. So we'll see. Maybe there's a player there. And they did. They paid for the 2 offensive guards. I mentioned that. And we'll see. And Canales said he was going to use Legette, but we'll have there's a lot to see. I'm investing in Bryce Young has become my firewall quarterback in super flex leagues where all of a sudden I only have 2 quarterbacks and it's dwindling. I'll take him ahead of other ones because I'm pretty confident in his job security, more so than maybe some players even that I think have pretty secure jobs. Geno Smith, I think his job's pretty secure. I don't think it's 100% secure, right? I'm not 100% sold on that. And there are others. Zare has thoughts on J.J. McCarthy, a rookie who is likely the worst quarterback in a highly competitive division. Reasonable take. Quarterbacks get maybe 2 to 3 years to prove himself. I'm wondering if Minnesota slowly brings him along. I think that's going to depend on Sam Darnold. If they can salvage something from Sam Darnold, I just, the question is Sam Darnold salvageable? And we'll see. He's had serviceable moments, not going to lie. And I do think it would be ideal if they could take their time with McCarthy. I mean, if you can do, and I hope they can, and I hope they do, but I don't 100% know they will. I think that is a fair assessment, though. He just doesn't have the body to chip, to make a bold statement about that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. We don't have that production to back him up. So I totally agree with you. Sorry. I don't think we've ever seen a year 5 breakout, right? So really, no one can know what to expect for Legette. There you go. Have we seen a year 5 breakout? I don't think no. Let's see if something has happened here in my news. Make sure nothing's happened here that would be of interest to us. A lot of people contacting Bob Harris today. I'm Bob Harris. If you're just tuning in, footballguys.com. Previously Football Diehards. Hence this site. I'm just doing this because I like to do this and I like the audience, and the audience is super helpful to me in helping me figure my thoughts out and sort things out and kind of get my opinions and views in line. And I like talking to you all. So appreciate that. This will continue. At some point, maybe we start merging some things together and it comes more Football Guys centric. But I mean, I'm here promoting Football Guys. I'm working for Football Guys. All my content is appearing with Football Guys. So I think that's pretty clear. I love doing the hot seat show as well. And again, trying to put a little effort into getting people on your radar that maybe haven't been on your radar as content creators who I think do a great job, but maybe need a little more, need more eyes on them. So hopefully we'll be doing that. I'd like to get Zare Consabedian on here, my colleague from Football Guys, and we'll work on that. Hi, Brad. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. So, we could talk a little bit about, some of these other rookie selections. I like the questions that I'm getting, but just like kind of like looking at the running back situations. I know there's some people that are really keen on some of the running backs. I want to talk about a couple that I think are in really good positions. I mean, like I'm drafting right now a lot of Devin Singletary, right? Because the price is right for what I think is going to be a bunch of volume, or at least really good volume. But Tyrone Tracy Jr. is there, and it seems like he's in a good spot as well. So we'll see. He's a converted player, so wide receiver turned running back. So we'll see how that works out. But man, it just seems like there's not a lot in the way. Eric Gray is in the way. We'll see who wins that running back 2 job. I'm not sure Matt Waldman is sure. Kamani Vidal is another one who goes into Los Angeles behind 2 guys, one of whom is rarely healthy, J.K. Dobbins. The other whom is Gus Edwards. And I like Gus Edwards an awful lot and seems to be in a good position. But Kamani Vidal is a player. Matt Waldman loves him. That makes him interesting to me. We haven't seen that, it seems like every year the Chargers take a swing on a rookie and miss, right? Like we can go back how many years to Kelly, Spiller, etc., Larry Roundtree the third. None of that. So I want to say nothing that changed my mind about any players. And so like unless you're is it Fisk in Los Angeles? I mean, there's obviously big opening for the Rams, so you're thinking, but I don't know how early we're drafting. In the drafts I've been in, I haven't noticed anything that's changed. Like nothing I've seen in the IDP drafts I've been in so far has demonstrated any shocking development that changed the pre-draft order of the players I was interested in, Brad. So no, I guess the answer to that is no. Who is my tight end 2? I would like it to be Ben Sinnott. And I would like to think the Washington landing spot works in his favor there. He's kind of more of a multi-purpose player, though. I think Jatavian Sanders gets at least an opportunity. I mean, Carolina has failed at the position endlessly, right? That's been their problem. They just can't seem to land the right guy. So the opportunity is there for him, I guess, would be the thing for me. I think there's a lot of people who believe a lot of people. I know Matt Waldman will argue that Cade Stover landing in Houston is an ideal landing spot, that they'll make great use of him. He's definitely got the skill set. I know Waldman has him as his tight end 2, just in general, I want to say. It's right up there. I should look that up before I go out and make blanket statements on it, but I'm going to make the blanket statement on there. Matt thinks highly of him. Maybe not 2. I'll double check before I say something totally asinine. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm looking. I'll find it in a moment. I just had to open the file. The file's open. Well, it's a very big file. It takes a second to open. It's like the biggest PDF known to man. By the way, there's a new book out, people. I don't know if you've heard anything about this. And like I'm part of it. I'm included in it. I'm talking about The History of Fantasy Sports by Larry Schechter. It's available on Amazon. You can get it as a Kindle book as well. It's interesting. And a lot about how this industry came about and a lot of the people that you listen to, watch, hear from now, and some that you haven't heard from in a while. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, the history, that's worth talking about. I will have those discussions, Brian. It's a great tool. I would agree. Rachaad White. So I like Rachaad White as a great value right now. Bucky Irvin is there. We'll see. I know that there was some talk this week. Liam Cohen and Skip Pete, my former high school nemesis. He was the quarterback at my rival school, Skip Pete. Rodney Pete was there when I first started playing. And then Skip Pete, his little brother, was the quarterback when I was like going against him intensely. So anyway, they both talked a little bit about Bucky Irving. He seems to be undersized, doesn't have great speed, yet they are still talking him up. I think in an ideal world, they would like to find someone. But I'd go back to the Baker Mayfield thing. If we want to connect the dots between Canales saying they're going to run the ball more or put more focus on the run. Well, they kept running the ball even without a lot of success. And in Tampa last year. And Rashad White's running back, top 10 running back finish came basically because he had the second most touches of any running back in the NFL behind Christian McCaffrey. He's tied for the second most carries. He was not an efficient runner. He was not like a super productive runner, right? Yet they still kept running the ball. I think that's a good sign for the pieces in Carolina. I should have connected those dots before. So let's see if my rookie scouting portfolio is opened. It has. And here we go. So yeah, Waldman has Ben Sinnott 2 and Cade Stover 3, Jatavian Sanders 4. He likes Eric All as well. But that was prior to landing spots. And the argument is, and yes, they just paid Dalton Schultz, but is it a long-term deal? I mean, I think can they only use one tight end? So I think Waldman's argument is Stover can be used in multiple ways. I think what this really is the death knell of all my shares of Brevin Jordan. That's what it seems like. Tyler Conklin remains a solid sleeper, a solid late round tight end who is going to be busier. I mean, they just, look, in an ideal world that we don't live in, that place doesn't exist, the ideal world, but he would have been great in a Jets uniform playing for Aaron Rodgers. But you look at that depth chart in New York, we got Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert. That's basically it. Zach Kuntz is there, but I don't know if he'll ever turn into a thing. They have some other pieces as well. But it's basically Tyler Conklin's show there. So yeah, I think he is a reasonable, like if not a sleeper, a depth piece. I guess you want to call him a sleeper. Like I don't have super high expectations for him, but where did he finish last year? Let's just take a look at that. Because I do think sometimes we get a little caught up in the fact. I mean, he was someone who I liked a lot going into last season, but then the quarterback situation didn't work out the way I thought it would. It's a better quarterback situation this year. Let's just see. Yeah, he finished right about where you drafted him. Is tight at 18. But how much of that was the quarterback situation just allows the offense or, allows the passing attack in general? I think he'll fare better. So, yeah, I mean, he's about the same thing he was last year, but I think with more upside, hoping that the quarterback stays in the locked and upright position. I think that's a fair assessment. Look at this. The hour's almost gone. What the hell happened here, people? How did that happen? Give me more questions. I will answer them before we get out of there and call it a day. Again, if you're coming back next Wednesday, we've got a really big show coming for you, as we do every week. I'm going to have Eugene Omenihu, you know him as Fantasy Jeans on the Twitter. Destination Devi is where he plies his trade. So check him out on Wednesday. Trey Sermon is a thing again. That was from yesterday's football guys daily email. Again, go sign up for that. It is free. You get it in your inbox every day. I pull a couple days a week. Sigmund Bloom does a couple days a week. Cecil Lamby does a couple days a week, and we rotate around. And we will cover all the news every single day throughout the rest of the season. So yes, he is a thing. He is a thing. And my old age, I don't know if I think Ruckert's time has passed. I'm guessing. I think it might not happen for him. But yeah, so Sermon and Evan Hall are going to be competing. I think Sermon has, his kind of like probably the league has the lead for that role right now. At the moment. Am I drafting him early? No, but I mean, Jonathan Taylor's had some issues in the recent past. So there's something to that. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, I think there is something to that, by the way. I think that's a reasonable assessment. So yeah, like that. There's a lot going on right now. A lot of the rookie mini camps are all ongoing. So I'm sitting here trying to double check information in real time. Like I should probably check it in more advance. But we have a few more minutes. We have more questions. Catch me later today. The Football Diehards, a radio program on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Myself, Mike Dempsey, will be talking to Dave Spadaro of the Eagles website. And we'll be talking to Fred Greetham of the Orange and Brown Report, talking Eagles and Browns today. We'll have Mike Fiala on as well. To talk Dynasty. That'll be an hour one. So 3 p.m. Fiala will come on at 3:20. And then we'll have the beat writers in hour 2 to kind of sort things out. Dave Spadaro will take a victory lap. The Eagles doing a lot of things right. JC is right. Hit the like button if you get a chance. You can subscribe, do all those things. Love to have you here. Also, go to the Football Guys, the Audibles YouTube channel. Check out my content there. Every Friday, you'll find the headline news, top 5 headlines. That may increase. We may start doing more of those as the season draws nearer. But for right now, I kind of do a quick catch up. It's less than 10 minutes. Yes, Daddy's home. Mike is phenomenal, man. Mike is the best. Who do I want in my next eliminator? I want all of you in my next eliminator. It is open right now. I don't know how many players got. They just opened up my third one last night. So if you're interested in doing a Fantasy Cares eliminator, I love doing them. I have great success in them. I don't win them all, but I'm right in the thick of it right up until the end. So I love doing them. This year is like an upside down. It's totally whack. So check your scoring systems before you begin drafting. Who do you like best, Kevin? Who's your quarterback of choice? And why is it Bryce Young? It's an interesting league this year. Go check your rules. And this is 100% true. Mike Fiala, one of my favorite guests, because he abuses me endlessly and makes me feel stupid for at least one thing I say every program. Eliminators are totally nuts. So come sign up. One is available. There are a bunch available. If you don't want to play against me, you got to make a small donation to Fantasy Cares. And you should do that if you can. It's a good time. Love the eliminators. I am in 3 already. 2 of them are mine. The third one will open up this mine. And I'll jump into some more here as we get closer. Daniel Jones until he loses his job. That's 100% correct. He is another one that, like, how long is it going to be? It might not even, it might be 0 time though. I know there are people that I work with who are hoping for Drew Lock to be the week 1 starter. I have Dak Prescott for that reason. Like drafting if I'm drafting quarterback early, he's one of them because I see that potential downside. Oh, Roma Dunze out of practice with a hamstring injury. What the hell already? Come on. Damn, kids. Don't panic, everybody. It's going to be okay. It's just it's tightness. It's not a pull. It's nothing serious. Nothing to see there. Move along. So these are the things that we like to look for, throughout, if you're out there drafting in best balls and having a good time, there'll be these momentary spikes in news and information. Try and keep an even keel. Yes, they matter, but don't overdo it. It's a moment in time, just like practice plays and training camp. I mean, string some of them together and we'll have a discussion, but one at a time does not do a lot to float the boat. So anyhow, I'll turn everybody loose now. Again, really appreciate the time you have to spend with me each and every week. I want to wish the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. I hope you have a good time with your moms. If you don't have a mom, I hope we'll be thinking about you. I know that's a rough weekend for you, so hang tough. Appreciate y'all coming again. Football Diehards radio show, 3 to 5 p.m. today. Listen to it. Eagles, Browns, Mike Fiala. I'll be back here on Wednesday with Eugene Omenihu from Destination Devi. We'll be talking rookies and things like that. He's a great guest and a good time. Also, catch my YouTube channel on Football Guys, the Audible. There are 3 channels now. The Football Guys channel, the Dynasty channel, and the Audibles. I'll be on the Audibles, but watch all those channels. They're all fantastic. Alfredo Brown, Dave Kluge, Jagger May, Jeff Bell, Cecil, Sig, me, everybody, the whole crew there. So appreciate you taking the time to do that. Catch my fantasy notebook every Monday. I believe they're still keeping it completely free, so you can check that out and sign up for the free email newsletter every single day. Top stories in your inbox, free of charge. Oh, look at Polly Pork Chops. How you doing, man? Good to see you. And thank you all for coming. So we'll do this again next Saturday. In the meantime, today's show, 3 p.m., Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Back here Wednesday for On the Hot Seat. Video next Friday. And the cycle begins again. Appreciate y'all. Have a good week.